What is up, good people of the world? Welcome to episode 2 of what did I even call this series? Let's orchestrate the Chronicles of Narnia theme in lots of different ways. I readjusted the volume. My voice should be louder, or rather the Sibelius volume should be quieter, so hopefully that won't be an issue. It makes it a little bit quieter in my own ears too. I'm trying to figure out a way to get around that. I'm using loopback, so hopefully it'll be better in this episode. And I also moved my video into the upper right hand corner of the screen, which should be less intrusive. So in any case, what I'm thinking for this second version is to place the theme in the cellos, slow down the tempo a bit, and have a kind of the Force theme from Star Wars kind of vibe, you know, where it's just sort of like right, just have a very slow moving kind of flowering into a climax rather than having a consistent pulsation. So in any case, the first step to that would be, of course, placing it in the cellos. I think we're gonna use the same key because it's a nice key. I might use it lower. Nah, we'll keep it in the same key. I might change the rhythm too. Maybe that's cheating, but nah, we'll keep it the same. Also, this melody is a classic example of sentence structure. I mean, the first two phrases are exactly the same. Excuse me. Cheesy. So I'm just adding parts on top, trying to make it as complementary to the melody as possible. Here the G goes up to B flat, here B flat goes down to G. Some voice exchanges. I'm thinking of having these be tremolo. For some reason that reminds me of one of Eric Whitacre's pieces. Just gonna hear this just by itself. I actually quite like that. That's very nice. I'm getting the sense that I want to double the cello with the English horn. Sorry the score is so massive, but let's try that. Doom, 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 doom. I'm thinking eighth notes. Little pits thing. I know you're probably thinking I was doing that arco the whole time, but I like this last measure. Everything else is too busy. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, leave out all the downbeats. Oops, sorry. I think I just want to. I think I just want to bring them up to mezzo piano and just leave them there. I don't think we need to do any of this crazy other shenanigans. I might add like a Celestia thing going on. I think we'll avoid brass for this excerpt, and we'll use upper flutes for this stuff. I think we'll use flutes and clarinet, and we'll take away all of this fancy stuff. Normally I'd give them breath room, but we also might mark them down at dynamic level so they don't compete. First I'm going to try marking the clarinets down, but leaving the flutes where they're at. That's interesting. I'm gonna try something different here. I'm gonna do this. This is gonna make the piccolo a little quiet. But let's just try this by itself. I think that might work out nicely. Yeah. And I think we'll mark them down at dynamic level. It's generally a good idea if you're doubling winds with strings. If you mark the winds down at dynamic level, it sounds more like the winds are supporting the strings rather than making them sound like they're equals, which is of course subjective. Maybe you want them to sound like equals, but I don't in this case. I think the bass line is too busy. So I'm using dominant of B flat rather than spelling out the chord, and I'm trying to make the rhythmic and intervallic thing more consistent. Dee da da bom bom, do 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 bum boom boom bum bum boom bum boom, and save the decoration for when the melody's just on a whole note. That way it doesn't distract. We need to bring the cellos up to forte now. And bring these guys up to mezzo forte. Okay. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Wow. That actually works out. Sorry. I think I messed that up. This is like a kind of Neptune from the planets texture. I'm just listening to this by itself, see it's right. It's very magical. I think I'm gonna blur it with the pedal. Let's try that out. Why is the pedal not working? Is it because I don't have both selected? Yeah. Ooh, that's nice. We might need to bring them down. I don't want it to be too distracting. such a nice little chill texture. I'm cool with that. I don't think it needs anything else. It's very light. So again, melody on cellos, and double with English horn, down a dynamic level. Upper strings are playing, again, parts. Not that everything has to be 4-part writing. I'll show other kinds of textures later, but for now, upper 3 parts are complementary 4-part writing. Although it's interesting to write parts on top of the melody rather than the melody being dictated, because it's technically 5 parts because we have the 4 parts and then the bass line does its kind of own thing. So, and notice how I still use the passing tone, but this time I didn't do it rhythmically. Yeah, so first and second violins and violas playing tremolo. Very nice sound. It sounds much nicer with like nice samples or real players because, if all the players are playing unmeasured tremolo, then you get the shimmering sound, but you don't get a sense of because they're all playing at different rhythmic intervals, whereas Sibelius tends to, no performer doesn't really, simulate 16 players. The disadvantages of having a MIDI generated system. But anyway, and then it's doubled by piccolo and flutes. And the reason why I went with the flutes instead of having flutes and piccolo rather than having the 2 flutes, and it's because like this note I think is too high to be played by the flutes. I mean, it can be played, it's fine, but it's a little too piercing. Since it's lower in the tessitura of the piccolo, or the range of the piccolo, relatively speaking, it allows that upper string line to come out in a way that it doesn't when the flute is competing for it. And again, the winds are marked down a dynamic level so that they can support the strings rather than competing against them. And then I think a single contrabass section playing this nice little Pitts bass line is very nice. And then finally, just adding those Celeste arpeggios adds a nice little subtle glistening in the background, but we make sure to mark them down to piano. So I'll play it one more time. Right. Also notice I've used an E major 7th to give things a little bit of a dreamy kind of color to it. I don't know if Gregson Williams would approve of that, but in any case, we did it. Yeah, so there you go. There's the second episode, and I look forward to seeing you in the third episode, where we will have likely a completely different texture with the same thematic material. See you then.